My name is Eunice Tolu Olatunji, and you're welcome back on this channel. If this is your first time of coming here, thank you for coming and stay put so that you can learn one or two things. Here we talk about law matters or issues arising or people often have problem with. So we try to provide a general answer. So if you have a specific need, you may need to consult a professional. You can contact us for a detailed advice, because the advice provided here are general and there are no two cases with the same facts. We address the cases per cases. So please, this is for general knowledge. In the last video, I talked about divorce, ground of divorce. I talked about the fact that there is only one ground of divorce, and it is that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. I mentioned some of the facts that could be relied on to prove that the marriage has broken down irretrievably, which include living apart for a continuous period of 2 years, living apart for a continuous period of 3 years, distinction for 1 year. I talked about adultery. I talked about consummation. If you want details on this, you can see our previous video in the link. So today I'll be talking about unreasonable behavior. If one of the parties have behaved in such a way that it will be unheard of, or it will not be reasonably expected of the offended party to continue living with such partner, then it could be a ground. Oftentimes when people rely on these facts, it becomes the divorce is always mercy, because party brings out different behaviors, malign each other. They wash their dirty linen outside. Some of the facts that we may rely on in relying on this fact, it's cruelty, abuse. Nobody wants to be known as an abused husband or abused woman or wife. But in reality, so many men are victims of abuse, so many women are victims of abuse, and they'll now come out and say it. Different instances where you've been abused. Some other behavior that may be deemed that you may rely on to show that you shouldn't be reasonably expected to continue living with the other party is if the other party has been so adulterous to the extent of infecting you with venereal disease. There was a case where a man, the people that were living with them, he was sleeping with all of them, go out again, sleeping outside, and came back, infected the woman with venereal disease. The court said that behavior is unreasonable, and the woman should not be reasonably expected to continue living with that man. In another case, a woman was accused of being diabolical, that she will go to all these prayer joints and all of that, bring in jars, put it under the pillow for the husband, put jars in the husband's food. The court said that behavior is unreasonable, and the woman is not reasonably expected to continue living with such a woman. Another fact that people do use in this circumstance is the fact that maybe the other party had been frequenting prison. Within the space of 5 years, he has gone to prison for 3 years. So you shouldn't be expected to continue waiting for that man. If you decide to leave, then the law allows you to leave. The thing about divorce is that sometimes it could be very messy, especially when you rely on unreasonable behavior. Every party will want to defend himself. And then when you have children, this fact is not something that we advise our clients to rely on, because it will form part of the public record. And people will be able to trace your children that, oh, the father did something, because they are reported case here and there. When you rely on this fact to prove that the marriage has broken down, the marriage oftentimes ends up to be very hostile, people bringing out dirty things about themselves. And the bad thing is that once you file a process, it becomes a public document, and anybody will go to the court and apply for the record, and they will get it. There was a case of a judge whom the husband accused of not sleeping at home, and the court said the behavior was unreasonable. You can imagine somebody in high position like that, and they bring all that dirty thing about her. It's very, very unheard of. And the children are involved as well. They are children. And another thing is that when you rely on this kind of facts, you need evidence. Some people, when they are in a relationship, they don't keep record. We've heard of so many people that have been victim of psychological abuse. But how do you prove that? So it's difficult. So what we advise, if you know that, oh, this is what you've been going through, maybe you have been a victim of a husband or a wife who has a tendency of gaslighting. You know, these people have a gentle, calming, soothing nature, but they can draw you crazy. What you should do in that instance, communicate by text message. Text never lies. Communicate by email, because some partner can deny. And by the time you come to court and saying that, oh, I want to divorce my wife, I want to divorce my husband because he did it. So what can you use to prove it? The court of law does not act on word or sentiment. There must be facts. If you are a victim of abuse or domestic violence, have you ever been to the hospital and tell them what happened at the hospital? That, okay, I've been violated, I've been abused by my partner. Or you go to the hospital and tell them that you fell. You cannot go back and use that as a ground that because he has been abusing you. Or you've been abused and you've never seen the reason to go to the police station. Go to the police station for record purpose. All this will help you improving the unreasonable behavior of the offending party. Another fact they can rely on is living apart for 7 years and you did not hear from the man or the woman for the period of 7 years. Nobody knows where she is or where he is. So in that instance, you can rely on a presumption that the man is dead or that the woman is dead. So that's another fact that you can rely on in getting a divorce or having the court resolve that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. So is divorce expensive? It all depends on the lawyer handling the matter for you. It could be expensive. Just like you do your marriage. Marriage is expensive, so you should expect that if you want to dissolve it too, you spend money. You will spend money. It's not cheap. You will file the divorce petition. You will mobilize the belief to serve the process on the other party. If they are not able to serve the process, you will bring another motion so that they can paste or post to the other party, because all parties must be heard. I've had situations where party will say that, okay, we want to travel, so we just get a fake divorce. That is collusion. If the law finds you out, you may go to jail. So do the right thing. Get the right professional and get the right advice when you want to divorce or when you want to leave your partner. Divorce may not be the only solution. There are other ways like judicial separation, whereby the other party will just be compelled to still be fulfilling the marital obligation and the marriage still stands. So when you have successfully filed your petition, what next? That is what my next video will be talking to you about. I'll be talking about the procedure of getting divorced. If you like this video, click on the like button, share the video, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Bye.